Yo, it's your boy Zach. I just got some things to say. Man, if you're on this path right now for, say, enlightenment or truth, whatever it may be, if you've been working and searching, then here's some things you gotta know. We gotta search for this shit. And I mean, we gotta search for it more diligently than we've searched for anything else. We gotta try for it more than anything else that we've, quote unquote, tried for in life. People are free to believe in what they believe in. But to believe in something is to not know it. Here you go. There was a young man in search of the truth, in search of enlightenment. He found a master by a river. He approached the master and he told the master that he was a truth seeker. He was seeking enlightenment, needs a teacher. So the master takes him into the river and dunks the young man's head under the water and holds it there as long as humanly possible, as long as he can hold the guy underwater until he almost drowned. And he pulls him out of the water. The young man catches his breath and the master asks him, "What did you want while you were under the water?" And the young man responds, "Air." So the master tells him to return once he wants the truth as much as he wants the air. And that's a perfect way to describe it. How we've got to be in our efforts to develop a constant and conscious contact with the source. We have to remain aware and not aware at the same time. We have to see through the illusion or past the illusion that is our five senses. We have to look deeper than what we're used to looking at. We have to look with a different set of eyes or a different eye altogether in order to see certain things. I mean, this is a constant process of learning and development and change as you go down this spiritual path. And there's so much information out nowadays, it is so difficult to figure out if you're really reading something that's true or not. Well, here's the deal. None of it's true. Not 100%. It's all false to a certain extent. There's a lot of people that are doing things that you have no idea how it even affects you sometimes. Just the way someone speaks, certain ways that someone can present themselves with speech that has a certain effect on your brain, on your consciousness, on the way you perceive the message. And this is the secrets right here. A divine entity or the source isn't going to communicate with you the source doesn't just pop up and show its face to you and say, dude, this is exactly what you need to do. This is when you need to do it, how you need to do it, and who you need to do it with in order to accomplish your goals. That's not how it works. There's always a different form of communication, a creative form of communication. This is why masters teach in parables. Because that's the creative nature. This forces one to meditate on what was heard and what was taught and develop an inner meaning, an understanding of what was said. It's deeper than the surface and it's constant. We have to be aware that this is a world that is all around us, that we can look into at any time during the day, and we don't because we're not aware of it. We have no idea that it even exists because We are rooted in these five senses. It's very hard to escape the pull of the five senses. But the one who does shall never perish. The person who can deny the five senses develops extra senses. Not really. They only remember how to use something that has been laying dormant your entire life. Divination, maybe. Call it whatever you want to call it, but there's secrets within you that only you know and only you have access to. Nobody else can show you this. When we function off of what somebody told us somewhere, we heard it, we read it, we might get it, we might know it, we might believe in it, we have a belief in it, okay? But we don't know it until we experience it for ourselves, because then it becomes real, it becomes personal. We no longer have to rely on, a metaphor of speech or a personification of a deity. We can dive inside deep and figure out what's really being talked about here. So, in the beginning, God put the stars in the sky to be as signs, because this is a form of communication that the divine used. This is also why there's symbolism and all this, Freemasons, Illuminati, they use these symbols. Ancient civilizations had certain symbols that could be found all around the globe. There's certain reasons why, and this is because this was a form of a divine message. This is man recreating the communication. But those symbols aren't God, right? We get caught up all the time in the symbols and trying to link them all together, figure out how they all fit together in this grand puzzle of life and the conspiracy, and we figure out that it's all perfect, it all correlates, it all matches up. There's no fucking way that anyone with any bit of smarts could deny this type of stuff, but they do. It takes a special person to realize the power that you have within. And so some people will listen to this video and not understand a single word of what I'm talking about. It just sounds cool. Other people, they'll get a meaning out of this unlike anything. Let me tell you an experience that I had recently, right? Yesterday, that's what I mean by recently. I was driving, and for those of y'all that don't know me, what's going on, y'all? So, I was driving and I had this daydream phenomenon, right, where you zone out driving a little bit, and 20 seconds later, however long it is, you kind of come out of this daydream and you're like, fuck, dude, I wasn't even really paying attention or driving the car at all. Well, what the school or whatever, what popular science would want you to know about this is exactly this. Like, they regurgitate information, so that's your subconscious taking over in an act of self-preservation. And that's also for the more logical thinkers here to understand what's going on. So that's what's going on there. But inside my head, there forms an image. My eyes are completely wide open, but I'm seeing something else that isn't in my presence or in my immediate physical presence. So we've all had these daydreams. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever become lucid in a daydream? Have you ever looked at your hands, or have you ever looked in a mirror in your daydream? Have you ever noticed that even in some of your sleeping dreams and your daydreams, there's people there that you have no idea who they are? Or sometimes you may see someone that does not at all resemble your mother, for example, but in the dream, you identify that person with your mother, even though it doesn't look like them in appearance. So I had this daydream experience, and I was sitting in front of a computer screen. Looked like someone had a nice setup. basically is what this daydream was. A nice, like, streaming or YouTube setup, you know, nice microphone, soundproof walls, all that good stuff. The thing was, I was able to actually grab a little bit of control during this daydream, and I was looking into the monitor of the computer, and I could see my reflection. Except for it wasn't me. It was somebody else, not even the same ethnicity as me. When I saw the hand on the mouse of the computer, it wasn't my skin tone. So, what I'm asking is, was that my daydream? Or was that something else? Was that really my daydream? Was it my daydream and somebody else's day? I just thought this was an interesting thing to bring up. We all hear about the universal consciousness and all of this. No one's really talking about how you can log into it. I'm trying to tell you that the source communicates in a creative way, and the creative way is through imagery, symbolism. That's why these different various secret societies use so much symbolism, and not even just secret societies, but, like, you know, churches have their own sacred symbolism that they use in it. All religions do, you know. Why? Where does that come from? It's because that's how the Creator communicates. And I can't really go into it that much more. I'll leave it there, but so all I'm saying is, those moments when you happen to be driving and then you realize that you really weren't driving, that something else took over for you and was driving your car, I'm letting you know that that's you logging out of this matrix, and that's you logging in to something else, and we call it the universal consciousness, the consciousness web that's all interconnected to everything. That's what those images are that you form in your head with your eyes wide open while you daydream. Same thing while you sleep and you're forming dreams. You're tapping into this universal consciousness. And daydreams happen without us even trying. So imagine how easy it is to practice. But it is a discipline. This is all a discipline. It's like you want to astral project. You might not get it on your first time. You might have to keep on coming back. Stick and stay. You know, it's a discipline. No one accomplishes anything, you know, without a certain extent of discipline and motivation to continue. You know, you have to keep trying every day. It's got to be a constant awareness and a constant thing. Now, the important thing to know is people get bogged down by this prison we live in that we call Earth and life. You know, oh, you can't get the perfect job. You can't get the perfect girl or the perfect partner or however it is. Well, that's all an illusion. Because think about it this way. If you were awake and asleep, both evenly 50% of your time here on Earth, which one would be real life? Would the dream that you spent 50% of your time in be real life, or would this reality that we call being awake, would this be your reality? Which one would be more real? Which one? Which one makes more sense? The one where it seems like everything you do works against you, everything out here is working against you, or the one where you can literally change anything about your surroundings, anything about your position at work, anything about the person you're with? Which one seems more logical to be the one that should be real? Is it the one where everything's working for you? That sounds like something you would have created for yourself. Or the one where everything seems to work against you at times? That doesn't seem right. And this is something that they actually do in prison systems. And this is from personal experience. I'm not telling you something I read about the prison. What they do there is they make sure that you are up and awake, walking around, doing stuff for more hours of the day than you spend asleep. And this is how we function in regular society. Motherfuckers work 12 hours. You know, when you get home, you don't immediately clonk out. You know what I mean? So you're awake and doing this stuff, tiring yourself out more so than you're recharging. And it's built like that. This is a system that's built like that. In reality, you should be free to take a nap whenever you please, to sleep whenever you want. Because you have rights. You weren't born in Michigan or Texas or Hong Kong or London. You were born on the planet Earth, and when will you realize it? You were birthed here by a celestial parentage, not your mother and father. In order to find this truth, in order to find this enlightenment, you have to work hard daily. You can say you want it, but until you do what it takes to get it, you never will want. Everything starts in your head, and everything begins, everything ends in your head. Every experience you'll ever have in this life will be mental in origin. Your body has intelligent facets and responsibilities that it carries out that we may never comprehend. We can't understand the brain and why this all works. We don't understand what consciousness is. People are afraid of death and afraid of living here. There's rules to this game that we live in. And these rules or principles or laws are always in effect and are always happening whether you know it or not. And that's the truth of the matter. Don't let yourself be sidetracked. You have to be steadfast and do not believe in a thing, but know a thing. Don't search for symbols from man, search for signs from God.